Several years ago, I sat beside Corrie ten Boom in Dallas at a luncheon for Christian authors. As we sat there side by side, she described the horror of the Nazi concentration camp where she was sent for helping the Jews escape the iron fist of Hitler's Nazis. There she lost her sister, her father, and her nephew. If there was ever a reason to hate, she had one. The beatings, the starvation, the sadistic brutality of Hitler's monsters were etched into her brain. For years, she kept records of those who had abused her after she got out of the prison camp. Every offense, every date, every officer involved, every circumstance in graphic detail, waiting for a judge who would come along, who would give her justice. And she said, one day, while I was praying, the Lord spoke to me and said, I have forgiven you. Why don't you forgive them? And she said, I went and got those records and threw them all in the fire. And she said, when tears were flowing down my cheeks, I felt an invasion of the love of God that flooded my soul that I had never known in all of my life. Who is it in your life you need to take the mental records and throw it in the fire so that you can have a wonderful life? Why forgive? Not for the benefit of the other person, but for your benefit. Well, how often should I forgive? That's always the question. It was the question Peter asked. Shall I forgive 7 times? And Peter did it because in the Mosaic law, if you forgave someone 3 times, you were really special. So Peter upped the ante to 7 because 7 is the number of perfection, and he thought he was really being spiritual by offering the number 7. And Jesus said, no, 70 times 7, which is 490 times. Look at the prodigal son. And Jesus said the prodigal son had gone into a far country and he wasted his substance with riotous living. And when no man came to him, he was in that pig's pen, fighting them for something to eat. In his heart, he knew back home that he had a father that loved him enough to forgive him. And that knowledge saved his life. He got up and he shook the slime off of his body and started walking the long road home. The father was watching for him, and while he was a long way off, the father ran down the path to his boy. Here was the boy in rags who had the stench of a pig, and he put his arms around him and embraced him and said, bring the robe, bring the ring, bring the shoes, my son is home. His forgiving love saved that boy's life. How many prodigal sons and daughters are in the far country right now wondering if there's enough love in their home, in their father's heart, in their mother's heart to give them the opportunity to try one more time? If there's love enough in a mother's heart to save them. I challenge you to pick up the phone and give your prodigals another chance. It might save their life. 2 questions. Who do you need to forgive? And do you need God's forgiveness yourself?
is time for Yes with Yesse. Please welcome your host, Yesenia Leva.
Buenas noches. Buenas noches. Buenas noches. Gracias. Gracias. Thank you. Thank you kindly. Good evening or good afternoon, new season. How are we doing this evening? Another Thursday. Time flies when you're having fun and when you're busy and just, doing life and working and stuff. It's just flies. It's crazy that we're already in Easter and Good Friday, and then it's Thursday again. It's just time flies, and that's why it's so important to enjoy and appreciate every second of every day. So good evening, 89.1 FM. If you're listening from home, you're listening from the road on your way to work or on your way home, good evening to you. I hope that you guys had an amazing day and continue to have an amazing rest of the day until bedtime. So good evening to you all. Good evening, 89.1. Good evening, newseasonfm.com. If you're listening to us online, good evening to you. And of course, those of you here with me, my favorite part, I get to interact with you guys and it's so much cooler and funner because that's how we roll. So good evening to those of you streaming live here with me on Facebook and YouTube. So good evening to you, Facebook and YouTube family. Do me a favor, for those of you that are already on, give me those thumbs up. Give me those thumbs up. Give me those hearts. Share the broadcast and let others know that we are here. Share the broadcast so that others know that we are here. Antonio, I see you. Yes, Passover. I see you. I see you, Brother Joel. Thank you for joining as always. Good evening to you all. And yeah, here we are. Here we are in celebration and just really a time of reflection and prayer, and it's a good time. It's a good time. It's a good time, and I think it's been really just renovating in a sense and healthy to just be grateful, giving thanks, and just focusing once again, refocusing on what truly is important. We petty the little things, and we get mad and we get upset, all these little things. But at the end of the day, what truly matters is our faith in God, remembering and being grateful for his sacrifices for us, and who we are, and embrace everything that we have been given and everything that we have to give and to offer. That's what it's all about, and just being there and being kind to one another. It's not that hard, guys. It's not that hard. We can do it. Just be kind. A simple smile will do. A simple hello will do, and just be kind. So today is a perfect time to start. If we haven't started already, today, right now, perfect time to get started moving forward. So thank you all so much for joining. Good evening. Good evening. Again, thank you for joining, and please share the broadcast and get those thumbs up, hearts, so that others know that we are here in the building. And of course, as you guys know, here we talk about all things information, resources, services, just inspirational, motivational topics that affect our daily life. Okay, that affect the lives of those that perhaps live with a disability, a diagnosis, and maybe we don't know what to do. Maybe we don't know how to ask for help or who to ask help to. All of those different things. Brother Enoch, good evening. Brother Enoch, all the way from Australia, joining in briefly on this Good Friday here in Queensland, Australia, 8:30 a.m. Wow. Good morning. Good morning. That's awesome. I love that. I just love that we can connect worldwide. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Brother Enoch. Same to you. So yeah, guys, that's what it's all about. Providing that sense of community and inclusion through the services, information, the gospel, and just acceptance of all people, regardless of our disability, whether physical, intellectual, or whatever that is, right? And so with that being said, the month of April, which is right now, the month of April is Autism Awareness Day. So April 2nd, to be exact, is Autism Awareness Day, but the entire month of April is Autism Awareness Month. Now, I learned something new today. just reading and different articles that are of interest to me as it pertains to just these specific diversity and inclusion topics, there's been talk about Autism Awareness Month versus Autism Acceptance Month. And so we've talked about that before, right? How we're still in these awareness days and awareness months, when in reality, it's like, okay, like we're in a place in the world, if you will, or a time in the world where we should know a lot more. We as individuals with disabilities ourselves should include ourselves more in all aspects of life, church, work, relationships, whatever it is, so that by us being included and participating, we then teach other people about us or about our differences, if you will, and how we are so much more alike than we are different, because we have the same needs, we have similar wants, we want to work, we want to make money, we have to make a living. And so doesn't everybody, right? Doesn't everybody? And that one thing that makes us different or sets us apart, does not set us aside, but sets us apart from others, it's not so bad. You know, it's not so bad as long as we are educated and we are self-aware and aware of other people around us. Excuse me. I'm thankful for my special children. I'm thankful for Jesus died in resurrection so that we can have eternal life. I'm thankful for you in our lives. Thank you so much, Senora Esther. Thank you so much. And so there you go, you know, a fierce advocate for the community and individuals with disabilities as well, La Senora Esther. So that's what it's all about, just creating an overall sense of inclusion and the diversity of individuals with disabilities here on Yes with Yesse. You know, it's what I do with my life. So there you have it. That's what this is all about. And, you know, I'm grateful for every time that we have a platform created, or we can create a platform where we are able to do that and bring that to so many listeners and viewers across the world. Like, that's amazing. That's amazing, because we need it across the world, not just here at home locally, right? So again, thank you guys for joining, and do me a favor, share the broadcast if you have not done so already, and give those likes, thumbs up, and share our YouTube channel. And if you have not subscribed, if I send it to you and you have not subscribed, please subscribe to New Season Gospel FM. And you can also subscribe to Yes with Yesse. Yes with Yesse, just like the title of the show tonight, Yes with Yesse. That way you guys can stay on board and connected to not only the upcoming shows every single day, morning, afternoon, night, every time, but also stay connected to the Yes with Yesse YouTube channel for information, resources, and more videos coming your way on the day-to-day, you know, of a world, or a day-to-day in the world of Jesse. It can be very interesting, as a matter of fact. So go ahead and subscribe. Yes with Yesse on YouTube, and of course, New Season Gospel FM. Thank you so much, Senora Esther. I appreciate it. Thank you. So yeah, Sister Millie, good afternoon, evening to you. Thank you for joining. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Before I go into our topic, just a little bit on what is, I was going to say on and popping, but what is hot in the disability news and disability community, not just now, but all the time, guys. All the time. All these topics are so useful, filled with useful information. So por ahora vamos a empezar con una musiquita. Let's get started with some music. Of course, always playing my favorite songs here on New Season Gospel FM before we get into our topic for this afternoon.
Draw me close to you and never let me go. I lay it all down again to hear you say that I'm your friend. You are my desire. nothing else can take the place. To feel the warmth of your embrace. Help me find the way, bring me back to you, and draw me close to you. Never let me go. I lay it all down again to hear you say that I'm your friend. You are my desire. No one else will do. 'Cause nothing else can take the place. To feel the warmth of your embrace. Help me find the way, bring me back to you. You're all I want. You're all I've ever needed. You're all I want. Help me know you are near. You're all I want. You're all I've ever needed. You're all I want. Help me know you are near. Draw me close to you, never let me go. I found a way to live when you came into my heart. Draw me close to you, never let me go. You're all that I've ever needed. You're my counselor and savior. Draw me close to you, never let me go. I love you, I need you. You're my desire. Night and day, day and night. Never let me go. Just take control of my life. Never let me go. 'Cause nothing else can take your place. Never let me go. To feel the warmth of your embrace. Never let me go. Because without you, I am nothing else.
So cool to know that people listen to us from all around the world, right? And then they're driving down the streets and like, hey, we hear you. So shout out to my friends out there driving around the town, visiting, listening in to New Season Gospel FM. I think first time listeners perhaps. So shout out, shout out, shout out. And again, thank you guys so much for joining in. I see you guys. Sister Laurel, good evening. Thank you for joining. And please take a moment to share the broadcast. Share the broadcast so that others know that we are here sharing this moment together tonight on 89.1, your number one gospel station, New Season Gospel FM. Y vamos a seguir adelante. Let's keep going with some more music for our enjoyment before we get into a little bit of our topic this afternoon/evening.
Aquí estás, debemos mover. Te adoraré, te adoraré. Aquí estás, sanando mi corazón. Aunque no pueda ver, estás obrando. Aunque no pueda ver, estás obrando. Siempre estás obrando. Siempre estás obrando. Aunque no pueda ver, estás obrando. Aunque no pueda ver, estás obrando. Siempre estás obrando. Siempre estás obrando. Aunque no pueda ver, estás obrando. Aunque no pueda ver, estás obrando. Siempre estás obrando. Siempre estás obrando. Aunque no pueda ver, estás obrando. Aunque no pueda ver, estás obrando. Siempre estás obrando. Siempre estás obrando. Milagroso, abres camino, cumples promesas, luz en tinieblas. Mi Dios, así eres tú. Milagroso, abres camino, cumples promesas, luz en tinieblas. Mi Dios, así eres tú. Aquí estás, sanando mi corazón. Te adoraré, te adoraré. Aquí estás, tocando mi corazón. Te adoraré, te adoraré. Hoy siempre te llamamos. Milagroso, abres camino, cumples promesas, luz en tinieblas. Mi Dios, así eres tú. Milagroso, abres camino, cumples promesas, luz en tinieblas. Mi Dios, así eres tú. Santo, tú eres santo.
Ay, milagroso, abre camino. Así es Él, así eres tú, Señor. Y alguien me mandó un mensaje. Somebody just sent me a message saying, really, salsa? ¿De verdad? ¿Está tocando salsa? Sí, salsa para los salseros, para los latinos, verdaderos latinos. Aquí en esta noche, una salsita. Pero bueno, ahora vamos a seguir con el tópico de esta noche. So, a little salsa for those true Latinos in the house tonight, listening on 89.1 New Season Gospel FM. And we're going to go ahead and go into our topic a little bit. We're already in April. The month of April. Time flies when you're having fun. So between May and June, that's when our students start to get out of high school or, whatever grade they are in. And it is not until they're close to reaching, 20, 21, 22 when they start to age out of high school that moms, dads, guardians, caregivers start to contact me and say, hey, my son, daughter is about to age out of high school. What do I do? Or how do I become their guardian? Or how do I assign a guardianship to them now that they are over the age of 21, 22 years old? And so it's a very popular thing during this time of the year. My first advice would be not to wait until they are graduating high school or going into whatever post-secondary education means to them. Don't wait for that moment to start the guardianship process. You can definitely start that process earlier so that when this time comes around, you can now be ready. Be ready and have everything set in stone as far as what this individual's future is going to look like. And so with that, there's different types of guardianships, right? There's never that one type of guardianship, because it's not like a one shoe fits all type of deal. Everybody has a different situation. So whether it's the voluntary guardianship, the voluntary guardianship, the emergency temporary guardianship, or the limited guardianship. And of course, there's the permanent guardianship. So basically, the purpose of having those different guardianships is that you're not taking that individual's rights away from them 100%. So that's to say, let's say let's say someone like myself. Let's say I have a intellectual disability and I am not able to make decisions on my own from a medical perspective. I don't, I don't know better as far as my medical needs, so I can have a medically needy or a medical needs guardian to do that for me, right? And then as it pertains to anything else in my life, going to I don't know, going to work, cashing my own paycheck, paying my rent perhaps, or choosing where I want to live, all of that I can do on my own, with the exception of making those decisions when it comes to a medical decision that has to be made on my behalf. So that's the purpose of the different guardianships. The same way there's the financial guardian type of funding of program, where my guardian would only then manage my finances, and I would be able to manage anything else for my well-being. So there are those different types of guardianship opportunities to help individuals with disabilities be more successful while still keeping their sense of independence and inclusion and acceptance in the community. And so very, very recently, this year, a new bill has passed that would definitely improve the U.S. guardianship programs for older clients and those with disabilities. The bill would actually shine more light on guardianship arrangements and provide some support for the organizations that service these individuals and defend these clients against abusive guardianship. That is such a thing. That is a thing of as abusive guardianship. Of course, more than anything, financially, where a caregiver or a parent takes full guardianship of that individual with a disability, manages their money, their funding coming in and their money coming out 110%. And long and behold, soon enough, that individual will lose all of their rights because of this full guardianship that has been brought up upon them. That is very hard, very difficult to reverse, right? To reverse and to minimize that guardianship once it has already been put in place from a legal perspective. So there's so much that goes into it. And as a matter of fact, right now in the U.S., a number of 1.3 million U.S. residents have guardianship right now. That is a lot. And I assure you, if we were able to have a list of those 1.3 million people with disabilities, assuming it's disability related, including mental health, I'm pretty sure a good percentage of those individuals would not need full guardianship, but would qualify in a sense for whether it's the voluntary guardianship, the emotional, or the emergency temporary guardianship, or the limited guardianship, so that they can still have access to more of their rights as a human being. And I think that's the frustrating part for me, is a lot of times we don't separate the human from the disability. We categorize them altogether, and so we don't see the ability, the skill that they have, the value, in other words, that they have as an individual, to be able to do certain things for themselves by themselves. Someone said Social Security income. Yes. So as a guardian, you have full control or full access to that individual's Social Security income. And so what happens is that Social Security income, yes, it belongs to the individual with a disability, but it is managed by the individual that has claimed guardianship over that person. So now they can use it for rent, hopefully for the individual's needs, right? But they can use it for rent, to go shopping, to go food shopping, to go on vacation, whatever it is, right? So it's very important basically for that individual with a disability, as long as they have in a certain level of cognitive ability, to be able to make decisions as to what they want to happen with their benefits, their SSI, as someone said on our Facebook feed, of their medical decisions, etc. I think it's very important to include. We always talk about the inclusion, right? It always It's always a part of everyday life and decision making. Very important to include the individual with disabilities rather, his or herself, to make the choices as it pertains to their well-being and their life moving forward. So what we want to eliminate by perhaps not implementing guardianship from a legal perspective is the financial and other types of abuse that are very common when we talk about these topics for individuals with disabilities. Unfortunately, we automatically go to vulnerability as and connection with disability. This person has a disability, now they are vulnerable, so now let's take away their rights and you know, basically do all of these things for them, when in reality we should act or work together as a support system for this individual and the people connected to them, family, friends, caregiver, etc., to do what's best for the individual living with that disability, right? Again, this bill, which is in place now, is going to be shining more light on guardianship arrangements and provide some sense of support and independence and defense to the individual with disability as far as it pertains to financial and other related services in commonality with individuals with disabilities. So yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. Good evening, Sister Marcia. Good evening. So this is a good time of the year to start doing that. And again, let's not wait until the individual is 22, 23 or older to start to put things in place for their future, whether that's medical, in-home supports, financial well-being, you know, financial stability, guardianship. And again, you have the different types of guardianship, which is the voluntary guardianship, emergency, temporary guardianship, which also happens when someone lives through an injury. They have a car accident and, you know, they can't make decisions for themselves at that particular moment. So there is that voluntary, temporary guardianship, so that a family member slash caregiver can make those necessary medical decisions for that individual. Medical decisions, not so much full, you know, control of the individual's life, as it is a temporary situation in a sense, right? And so that comes well with even now being, as I mentioned earlier, Autism Awareness Month, really, but not just with autism, but all disabilities, all disabilities, and it's much, much needed. So I encourage parents, caregivers to become more educated. There are free resources out there with Disability Rights Florida, 211 Broward, 311, or contacting me directly via email or social media platforms, yes, with Yesse, and I'll be able to connect you and just kind of maybe guide you through the process for whether it's guardianship, as we have been talking about, or any other type of related disability related service. And someone mentioned earlier SSI. That is definitely something that you want to make sure you include in the guardianship records or reports, so that it is included in that protection of the guardianship, whether it's the full guardianship permanently or a temporary guardianship, because it needs to be protected so it's not taken away from the individual that needs that specific service, regardless of the fact that you now become their guardian. Is it pricey? Absolutely. It's pricey to become a guardian, no matter what kind of guardianship, but there are definitely resources out there to help you from a financial perspective. However, I think I might have shared this with you all before. Someone asked, what are the pros and cons of choosing a guardianship instead of a power of attorney? So when you choose a power of attorney, that power of attorney has full power. And I'm, you know, even non-disability related, you guys have heard stories in the news where there's a power of attorney and the individual loses full control, full access to themselves, really, as a person, and everything that they need holistically to live an independent life, included in the community. So to me, a power of attorney is just taking the rights away from the individual, versus guardianship gives some leeway to give that individual with a disability some rights that that they have the right to have, or that they're in the right to have. So I think that's the main difference. So definitely, and that's a great point to really educate yourselves on ourselves, really, on the difference between the different guardianships, instead, versus a power of attorney. Again, a power of attorney, I think, just really revokes the rights of the individual completely. And I think that should never happen. As individuals, as people, we always should have some sort of right to our life. Someone said, "How and where can I go to apply for a guardianship for an individual?" So, depending on your area, Sister Rose, depending on your area where you are, I would definitely look for a disability rights place. Disability rights Florida, as we have here, we have Disability Rights Florida. We have, I know, in the county courthouse, excuse me, in the county courthouse, you can also apply there for minimal fees. You do have to go through a process of background check, of qualifications, of just a bunch of questions and paperwork to do that. But if you have more questions, feel free to send me a direct message, and I can help you look for this resource in your particular area, as it is, it is based on where you live. So just be prepared to have proof of disability of the individual, why you are claiming guardianship over this individual, what kind of guardianship you're seeking, and then also, to, of course, information on how you, as the now primary guardian of this individual, hope to take full care of this person, financially, physically, emotionally, and the whole 9 yards. So it's not an easy process. It's definitely a process that takes time. But once it is started, once you have started the process, it goes smoother from there, right? So again, feel free to direct message me, and I'll give you a little bit more guidance in your particular area. So as it pertains to the pros and cons of choosing a guardianship instead of the power of attorney, I think that's a very, very great point, because again, I always think about least restricted, right? Of course, depending on the individual's disability, whether it's a cognitive disability or anything that impedes their ability to make decisions on their own. The moment there's a power of attorney, I think that's more limiting to the individual and their rights to use their voice, for their own defense, if you will, and what they hope to accomplish in their life. So I hope that answers your question. And it's very interesting, because as quote unquote popular as it is, I would definitely love to bury myself a little bit more in that topic and see how it helps. I also know, interesting fact, I also know that a lot of individuals that are group home owners, okay, and this is a home where people with disabilities, developmental disabilities, intellectual disabilities live on a long-term basis. A lot of times the home owners become the person's power of attorney or their legal guardian by way of guardianship or adoption, so that they can make all the decisions that they need to make as it pertains to this individual with a disability. So all of that interconnects, and I think it's very important to know the difference between each individual program and the appropriate process to apply for each program. Someone said income tax refund. That makes it, yes, the income tax refund does make a difference as far as, what the guardianship is. Like for me, I don't have a guardian. I'm totally, independent. Then my tax return is mine. And I always encourage individuals with disabilities at work to do your own taxes and not have, your mom, dad, or someone else claim you in your taxes. You do your own taxes. However, if there is a need, if there's a disability that does not allow you to do your taxes independently, then yes, know that with these different programs now you're not going to be doing, I should say, you're probably not going to be doing your own taxes, but now you're going to be under the wing of that individual claiming guardianship for you. So those wanting to apply for guardianship, I'm sure you're doing that now as far as claiming your individual in your taxes. So that's just something that you're going to continue doing. As guardianship does not allow basically for us to do anything independently in that case anymore. So I hope that answers your question. And thank you for that, Antonio, and your feedback, Sister Rose, and Esther. Thank you so much. So you guys see, it's popular. It's popular, and these are things that are always in the back of our minds as caregivers, moms, dads, and all that, once our young adult becomes that young adult. If you guys follow and subscribe to Yes with Yesse on Facebook, I'll make it a point to put a list of resources as it pertains to guardianship and power of attorney for you guys as well. There are websites out there to get help. Before I got a little sidetracked, I was going to share a story I think I've shared before. Just for those of you there interested in guardianship, I have one of my girls, her mom was sick. Her mom was very sick. And she thought she left everything set in stone for her daughter. She left her home. She left her under the care of her nurse, her companion nurse, and her family. And she left this family the house that they had been living in, the whole nine yards. She thought she did everything from a legal perspective to make sure that when she was no longer here, her daughter was taken care of. So unknown to me, the lady, she passed away of cancer. Nobody knew. She did it she did all the process very quietly. And she passed away. After she passed away, I found out, and I was a part of that process for the last days or whatnot. And after that, my girl, her daughter, disappeared. Literally disappeared. Nobody knew where she was. I didn't know where she was. And so if you know me, I'm gonna insist and persist until I find her. And I did. A long time later, but I found her. And long story short, her dad, who had not been a part of her life, took her and they moved. Now this girl, who had been used to a specific, or a certain lifestyle, and going to my fashion shows and being active in my activities, like she was my poster girl for my Funclusion event, because she was always with me. And she was always in runway shows and Fashion Week Miami and New York Fashion Week. So, her life changed drastically when she was taken away by her dad, because her mom, who had not been a part of her life, by the way, because her mom didn't seek the professional help that she should have, or that she could have, and just took matters into her own hands. And as good as she thought she did, her daughter wasn't protected legally. So now you have a girl who, again, had a specific lifestyle and fashion shows and services and care, and she had everything she needed, to basically nothing. And that's hard. That is very, very hard. And I was so upset. If I get attached to my kids, and I was so upset, and I was like, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? God led me to her. Like, when I tell you God led me to her, literally that's what happened. Thank you for social media and the people that knew and followed me and knew my relationship with her. And I got to reconnect with her and talk to her, and I know that she's doing okay. But that's the importance of making sure that we do things right and that we seek help. And know it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask questions like we're doing tonight, to make sure that we're doing things to the best of our ability for our loved one, right? So again, if you guys have any questions, reach out to me directly on Facebook, Yes with Yesse, on my personal page, or my Yes with Yesse Facebook group, and we can talk more on the services that are available, including the guardianship, or power of attorney, whichever one meets your needs. So there are options, guys. There are options, and please do not wait until it's too late. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't allow insecurity or maybe a little bit of shame to prevent you from asking questions. It is literally as easy as asking a question. The worst thing we're going to say is no. And if you know me, I'm not going to say no. If I have the resource, I have the information, I'm going to share it and I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to help you get there, for the well-being of that individual living with their differences day to day. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and play some more music tonight just to finish off. We have just a few minutes left. Thank you so much for listening again and tuning in to another episode of Yes with Yesse, talking tonight about Autism Awareness Day and Autism Awareness Month, that is, and guardianship and what that is all about. Remember, 1.3 million U.S. residents have a disability. So all of these providers, for guardianship and so on, should be very busy making sure that every single one gets the appropriate care and services that we are entitled to. Does that happen? No, not all the time, but here we are advocating for as many as we can to make sure no one gets left behind.
Come on, jump on the stand to our feet. I don't know if you're excited tonight, but I came to thank God for all of the miracles, signs, and wonders that I've encountered throughout this year. So come on, let's celebrate tonight. Let's put our hands together. En medio de oscuridad, rodeado de mi maldad, cansado estoy, perdido voy. Con mis fuerzas luché, pensé que podía vencer, lo perdí todo, me rindo hoy. Vamos a declarar. Mas cuando no podía seguir, el Hijo me encontró a mí y me dijo, contigo yo estoy. Me levantó, me restauró, en tierra firme ahora estoy. Gracias, Maestro, te agradezco. Vamos a declarar. Él me sanó, me transformó y mis cadenas
we thank God because we're free. And that's like one of my favorite songs. Absolutely love it, love it, love it. Again, thank you everyone for joining me here on another episode of Yes with Yesse with you every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on New Season Gospel FM. If I did not say hello to you, hello, good evening. Good evening, Sister Stacy. Good evening, Otenga. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining from all around the world. Guys, just a friendly reminder, the 5th annual 5K run for Rue. Please go ahead and sign up on ruebuchanan.org. That's rubuchanan.org, taking place April 15th at 9 a.m. at Westwind, that is Westwind Park. And I will, after the show, go ahead and post the information so that you guys have it. And don't miss out. Let's support the Buchanan family and foundation this April 15th at the Westwind Park at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. April 15th. Okay, so on that note, also please remember to subscribe. If you're on Facebook, subscribe to our New Season Gospel FM YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube so you don't miss a beat. And don't forget to subscribe to Pastor Stephen's worship YouTube channel, Stephen Reeves Worship on YouTube, so that you guys can get notifications of the videos that are posted and stay connected with him and the New Season family on his journey as he travels, spreading the gospel around the world. So awesome stuff happening. And with that being said, of course, I have to do this because if I don't do this, I'm gonna do it. Like, if I don't do this, I'm not gonna get over it. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna play a song we have been hearing for the past couple mornings and afternoons, and I know that you guys absolutely love it as I do, and it's the Blood of Jesus medley by yours truly, Pastor Stephen here in New Season Worship Center. If he's listening out there, hello Pastor, and here you go with your latest upload. And guys, don't forget, subscribe to Stephen Reeves Worship so that you guys can stay connected as Pastor continues to travel and spread the gospel around the world. So here we go, guys. Until next time, I look forward to seeing you again on another episode of Yes with Yesse, and I will be posting information and resources as mentioned on Yes with Yesse Facebook page and my personal page on Facebook as well. Thank you as always for your support. Join us again tomorrow morning for prayer time at 6:30 a.m. in his presence. And then the Pastor Steve Show Fun Friday, or as I like to call it, Fun Friday, alongside Pastor Henry tomorrow morning. Until then, guys, here is our last song for the evening until we say goodbye, good night, see you later, until tomorrow. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. And here we go. I'll see you soon.
Yes, it was the blood of Jesus, not the blood of lambs and goats, man.